Welcome back to the Voice of Hope. Tonight, our guest is going to be Lisa Baxter. She is a kidney dialysis and a transplant warrior, and she's going to be on the Voice of Hope tonight to share her story. Also, before we begin the interview tonight, this has been on my heart for a couple weeks now. I'm going to start to have a live, like a couple times a month, where I do prayer for about 15-20 minutes. I have a lot of friends that call me for prayer, and sometimes, there may be others out there who are in need of prayer. And so I want to be able to offer that to you. Anyone you know that needs prayer, if you need prayer yourself, I'll post, on the show when I'm going to have that. But tonight, um, I have a friend. She really needs your prayers tonight. Her name is Sophie. She is battling Lyme disease, and she's in treatment right now. And I would ask that you keep her in prayer as she goes through this treatment. And I want to start with a prayer with her tonight. I hope you would join with me. And if you're watching this in replay, please keep her in your prayers. She needs your prayers. Um, she's going through a difficult time right now with treatment and her family. Lord, I just ask right now that whatever Sophie is going through, that you would strengthen her body, God, that you would give her peace, Lord, in her mind, that you're with her every step of this treatment, Lord. Lord, I ask that you would encamp your angels around her, God. Lord, I ask that you would strengthen her like never before, God. Lord, I ask that you would give her family peace, Lord, that you would strengthen them, God, as she goes through this treatment, Lord. I ask that you would give the doctors wisdom and the knowledge to know how to treat her, Lord. And Lord, you said by your stripes we are healed. And Lord, we stand on that word, Lord. I just claim healing for Sophie Ward right now. Lord, we pray healing to Sophie, Lord. Lord, send your angels that with this healing power to her right now, Lord. Let her feel your presence, God. Surround her in the room that she is in, God. Lord, I ask that you would touch her like she's never been touched before, Lord. That it would be a miraculous healing, Lord. Lord, I ask this in your name, I pray. Amen. So, anyone out there who may watch this in replay, continue to keep Sophie in your prayers. She really needs your prayers right now, and I appreciate that greatly. And we're going to do another prayer service next week, and we'll pray for anyone in need. So tonight, I would like to invite our guest. Her name is Lisa Baxter, and she is a kidney dialysis and transplant warrior, and she is going to share her story with us. So I'm going to invite her to the interview.
Hey, how are you over there?
I'm good. We did it.
We
Yay.
finally did it. Woo!
You look so pretty. You look so pretty.
Oh, you're the beautiful one. You're the beautiful one.
Oh, you look pretty. I love that color you got on.
Oh,
So,
thank you. Thank you.
you're
Trying to
welcome.
stay still. That osteoporosis trying to bug me a little bit with my hip, but to God be the glory. This is going to be done.
That's right. We're praying, be praying for you on that. I know that must be tough.
I
So I
appreciate
am
that.
so excited. I got to tell you guys how I know about Lisa Baxter. About 3 weeks ago, I was on Angie Sudduth Wall's show. It was my 1 year anniversary of The Voice of Hope. And Lisa happened to pop on our interview. And we had never spoke before. She stayed on the whole interview. It was a couple hours interview. Thank you, Lisa, for sticking with us. And
It was excellent.
she was so encouraging through the whole interview. and she started to share some of the things she went through in the interview, and I was like, I had to have her on the show. I wanted you guys to hear. I don't even know the whole story. I have been watching her show, and I am excited to hear the whole story. We even have something in common. We
That's right.
both have the anniversary date, June 29th, 3 years ago. She had a kidney transplant, and 13 years ago, I had brain surgery on the same day. I was like,
Wow.
whoa, how could that
Look how God got us
happen?
together.
That's
Yes.
right. That is right. So I am so excited to introduce Lisa Baxter tonight to tell her story. And I know you're going to be encouraged. So invite some friends, uh, tell them to join us, and just sit back and listen to this wonderful story, what God has done. So, Lisa, welcome, welcome to the Voice of Hope.
Oh, thank you, Andrea, for having me. You talking about my story, man. Your story blew me away. I mean, I was up like, I don't know if it was the middle of the night or what, but it kept me very much intrigued. And I was so glad to see that you fought through so much and God has brought you through so much and you're such a champion. And our friend that we have together that I never met either, that was interviewing you, and her mother, I think it was her mother, right? I
Linda.
said I gotta have all of you guys on on my show. So hey, wow. So I mean, victory is across the whole camp.
We're coming. I know. I was so glad that God brought us together because I've been watching your show, and I invited a few more people that's battling kidney disease, and
Oh,
that they would watch tonight. And I was just excited to hear your story. And well, to
wow.
start off, I want to welcome Donna Tizzit. I hope I'm saying your name right. Thank you for joining us. And so, Lisa, how did you first find out you had kidney disease?
Well, I was my husband and I, well, we were engaged at the time. We were engaged, and you know how you have to go for the blood test and stuff like that. So when we went for the blood test, I did physicals and stuff every year for work. I'm a social worker, and they sent me to get a kidney sonogram. And then I noticed that they were saying that I had polycystic kidney disease. So I'm like, I knew that it ran in my family because of my father, but I didn't know, I just knew it passed me. I didn't want it. You know what I mean? I didn't want to be bothered with it or deal with it or anything like that. So I just had to take in what they were saying to me because it was hard to take because I was getting married, but I wasn't married yet. And, I didn't have any children or anything. All of those things rushed to you at the same time because it's new. I had to believe God about it, but it was still new. And I was telling my husband, who was my fiance, listen, if you are afraid or scared or don't want to marry me because of this polycystic kidney disease, I don't know what that is. I don't know what it means. And you could just run right now. And he says, no, hun, I believe God. And I said, well, I believe God too. But you want to hear the man say he believes it. So, he's in for the long haul. Women usually have a made up mind about stuff. But men, you want to make sure that they're sure, that they're sure, that they're sure, that they're sure, so, you'd feel a little more relaxed about it, because stuff is scary and it makes them run. And even going through that, it didn't make my husband run because it took years before I got on dialysis when we first got married. But that was the way I found out is be through the blood test because they test your creatinine, they want to know your bun, your BUN, they want to and then the cysts on the kidneys just made it was multiple on there. I had, you know, it was just multiple all over both kidneys. So, but they were still operating 100%. So,
Oh,
yeah, they were still operating 100%, but I still had this kidney disease. And when I went tested, it was nothing but elderly people in the place, and they're looking at me like, what's this kid doing in here? And I was at least about 30, I was 32 when I got married, and I got on dialysis about 41 years old. And I was on dialysis for 12 long years. 12 long years. Yeah, you know. So,
Wow. So you weren't diagnosed till you were 32 and then you was on dialysis for 12 whole years. Now tell some of us who doesn't understand, how kidney disease works, and isn't there different types of kidney
oh
uh
yeah, yeah.
diseases?
They're different types. In our instant with polycystic kidney disease, they're usually cysts all over the kidneys. It's like multiple. They look like bubbles or they're cysts that that have liquid in them. They can bust. They can rupture or what have you. I know my nephew was hit in the stomach in school, and he started to urinate blood. And I remember one time I don't know, I bumped into something or whatever, but I started doing the same thing, urinating blood, and the doctor had me to lay down. He wanted me to be stress free, quiet, and lay down. He didn't give me no medicine, but after a couple of days I laid down, it stopped, and I was able to consume, go back to work and do what I was doing. But it was a shock that those cysts cause so many problems. Sometimes they cause back pain, or you can feel some discomfort, or the kidneys get to be a very large size. They're supposed, kidneys are the size of our fist, the size of our fist, but a polycystic kidney can grow like a football or something. It can grow really huge, and sometimes you feel a certain part, you can feel it. And then when they show it to you on the sonogram, you can actually see them. I remember they started whispering. They didn't really want to say anything because, the tech is not supposed to tell you anything, only the doctor. But I could tell by their face it was something wrong. And I kept praying, but I'm looking at them. So I said, well, what's wrong? They said, oh, your doctor will talk to you. Oh, he'll say something to you. I said, okay, but, can you say anything? They says, no, we can't say anything to you. So I got a letter. That's when I told my husband, who was my fiance, I got a letter in the mail, and I read this letter to him, and he stuck by me with it and stuck through it with me. I have six siblings on dialysis. Two of my aunts, my uncle, and my mother-in-law. Polycystic kidney disease is a hereditary disease. So
Okay.
it from one of my sisters have two children. One of her children have it. Both of her grandchildren have it, who I also interviewed for the show because I want people to see this stuff. You can't hide it under a rock. You can't act like it doesn't exist. Sometimes we go through hell together, but that's what family and stuff is all about, through the good and the bad. You have to see each other through this. So you got to educate yourself and educate your family about any illness you have. I don't care if it's a cold, how it affects you and how it affects your body. But yeah, six of my siblings are on dialysis, and my sister that have five children, two of her children have polycystic kidney disease. None of her grandchildren have it, thank God.
So you didn't have any symptoms before the blood test?
Well, no. I mean, even when I went on dialysis, I had very small symptoms, but just knowing about the disease itself, I was still, preparing for my wedding. I was excited about that with 300 people and horse and buggy and, you know, Rolls Royce and limousines and, big wedding party. I was busy for a whole year with that. So I didn't see any symptoms or know of any symptoms. Maybe I had them and didn't realize, but from what I read and studied, I really didn't have any symptoms of having this disease, but when it's time to go on dialysis, I saw some of my symptoms.
Oh, okay. So you'll actually, if a person didn't know they had it, the symptoms might be what, like pain in their stomach or back or,
Well, well, you see, even your blood test and your urine test will tell a lot because there'll be a protein in your urine. So
oh,
that'll start, yeah. That's
okay.
that's what made them look at me, period. And then when they did the blood test, they said, okay, let's just do this sonogram. Because years ago, when my sister and I used to go to the doctor, we always picked the quack. We didn't want the real good doctor. Now I got excellent doctors for the last maybe 25 years or more. But when I was younger, I was basically healthy, had a cold or something like that, you know, little stuff. You know what I mean? But
Hmm.
no doctor had noticed that or said anything to us about that. And then I didn't know it was hereditary to when my father was tested, then I think it was one of my brothers that had gotten polycystic kidney disease. He's one of the first ones out of all of us that had it. So he was telling one of my other sisters, you better get tested. She didn't want to hear nothing about getting no test. And then after things happened with her, she was telling me and my sister, and we didn't want to hear nothing about getting tested. This is why I end up with a show and end up writing 5 books and end up starting a company and a program because I saw how I was acting as a person or a patient or somebody that was surprised. So who am I to get upset over people that act up when I try to introduce kidney disease to them or help them or educate them? They acting just like I did. Run away, don't want to hear it, or think it wouldn't happen to them. I mean, we all guilty of that somewhere, somewhat, but I can really preach about me since I'm living it. I mean, I love being healthy and stuff like that and doing the right thing. But I remember a time that, as long as you gave me some medicine or you just told me what was wrong with this quick fix, a band-aid, yeah, that's it. But now you're going to have to go deeper with these illnesses, sicknesses, and diseases. And you got to get your family involved and educate them because if they went to you to the hospital or the doctor, you would want them to know what's going on when the doctor's talking, even though sometimes they do talk way over your head. You say, come on, doctor, bring it down a little bit. Yeah, you know. And
Hmm.
they actually will say something or do, but you want your family to be educated because God forbid you go in a coma or God forbid pass away or anything, you want to know that you did all you could do and they did all they can do and they understood. Because sometimes people just don't understand. And that you'll live better if you know what's going on and have something to say about it and do something about it. You know what I'm saying?
That's true. That's so true. That's why I decided to create the Voice of Hope because, to start not only telling my story, but for others to come on whatever they may be going through so they can educate others about their
Yeah.
condition and they may
Yeah.
be, going through it and not know much about it. So
Yeah.
once you had went through dialysis for this many years, for 12 years, what happened to why did it come to the point that you needed a transplant?
Well, to be honest, I didn't need no transplant. I mean, I say I didn't need a transplant because I was functioning so well on dialysis.
Hmm.
Um, I still, worked. I still volunteered, teaching at the youth prison, at the hospitals, at the dialysis centers, making my rounds, traveling, speaking all over the world and everything. And nothing really slowed me down. So I wasn't really, they told me things would start to change. And I kept saying, why every time I turn around, you keep giving me this paper. It's every so often, every 3 or 6 months, they give you a paper to talk about, did you start having problems cleaning or something? I keep saying every year. I think maybe a year or two ago, before I had the transplant, it started affecting me that way because now I notice I used to be able to clean the whole house, bam, no problem. Now I sweep the floor, I got to mop it the next day. Before I used to be able to wax the furniture down, it take me so long. Now I'm only 56, but I've been, on the run for years. I'm like, what's going on here? I don't
Hmm.
like no illness or sickness to beat me. I will fight it tooth and nail. If I got to crawl to get there or clean that thing, it's gonna get clean. So you try your best and you do your best. You're really in love with the life that you had before, but you got to come to grips when you're ill and some things you can't do anymore, and you're gonna have to accept it. You can't fool a flight of stairs, my Archbishop Rochford used to say. You can fool anything and everything but that flight of stairs, he used to say. But he and my husband talked me into getting the transplant because my husband said, you've been on it long enough and I'm going to be tested. I didn't know he was tested that while I was getting on the list, he was secretly being tested. And I told him, who told you to get tested? I said, somebody in this family going to have to stay healthy. So I said, you stay healthy and let me work on myself. I'm fine on dialysis. If I was sick or something like that, I don't see the problem. I can wait on the list like everybody else. But he says, no, I'm tired of you being on it and I'm going to give you a kidney. So he was a perfect match. But then he developed high blood pressure and some kind of valve problem in his heart and couldn't give it to me. So he wasn't able to give it to me. And, we were married 23 sweet years. I miss my husband. He passed
Wow.
away of colon cancer and I didn't
Oh,
take his kidney
God.
when he had passed. I was so distraught that I didn't even remember to 6 months later, somebody said, Lisa, did you take Mitch's kidney? And I said, what? I would have probably donated more of his organs. I think somebody had a foundation that asked me about his eyes, but they asked me the same day he passed away. I'm on the dialysis machine. I'm getting calls about organs. You really got to be sensitive about that. Now, don't get me wrong. I volunteer with Donors Network and the what is it the Live or whatever network to deal with getting organs and signing people up in motor vehicles, but you have to be very tactful. That is not an easy thing to ask a person for an organ. And it's not, I'm sure it's not easy for them to give, even though people, it's been so sweet. The young man that gave me his mother, one of his mother's kidneys, she had passed away, and he had gave it to me, and they'd get you to write a thank you letter about that.
Oh, wow. So
Yeah.
you had, when you knew you had to have the transplant, they had notified you because you were already on the list. That's how you knew.
Well, the good thing was, let me see what happened here. All right, I was on the list. I was number 4 on the list. I became number 4 on the list because I think something they said with the Obamacare or what something he had did, and whoever was on dialysis a long time, it that counted instead of just being on the list a couple of years didn't count as much as being on dialysis. So that's what made me them call me for a kidney. I was called 4 times. The fourth
Mhm.
time I took it. First time I gave it over to somebody that needed it. They said somebody needed it. Somebody was in dire straits ahead of me. I was in no hurry. I just, I was waiting. You know what I mean? So, and the second one, I believe, was an intravenous drug dealer. The third time, I didn't want that one. I never used drugs, nothing against that. But, I really have enough illnesses. I don't want no extra illnesses, hopefully.
Mhm.
But you never know with an organ. You find out after, I'm going to tell you the truth now. You find out after the transplant some of that stuff. Don't make me go there. But I'm, when they told me, sometimes it's a little thing. They told what did they say? They said, Lisa, some stuff is treatable, so we don't mention it. I'm like, what? You don't mention it? They said, no, those are little things. That's not nothing that could kill you. I was a little shaken up when they told me something. Took me a minute, but it was already in there. So, but to God be the glory. But the fourth time they called me, I was at work. No, I'm sorry. The third time they called me, I was in the ambulance going to the hospital because the dialysis center made me go because I couldn't get rid of a cold that I caught from the children. I'm a social worker with 150 kids. At that time, we only had 45 children. But whoever sneezed on me or coughed in my face, that thing wouldn't go away. I tried all the home remedies I could think of. So they made me go while I was hooked up, they had the ambulance come right and get me to make sure that I would go. I mean, I listen, I do go, but I figured when I saw I couldn't fix it, I went. But I was trying. They didn't trust me, I guess, even though I was the advocate for the whole center and stuff. They had them come and get me and put me in the ambulance. So while I'm in the ambulance, I'm serious. The phone rang and it said, Lisa, we got a kidney. I said, well, I'm on my way to the hospital. They said, Lisa, because you're sick, we cannot give you this kidney. I said, well, I wasn't trying to I'm trying to heal from whatever's wrong with me, this cold. But I think 2 or 3 weeks later, they called me again and I'm at work and I said, oh my God. Now, I told my boss, listen, I had to wait till somebody come to work so I could leave. They said, what? You should have just left. You don't have to wait for us. They were so happy. I mean, wow, they went crazy. And then I jumped on 2 trains, went to Mount Sinai, and got Hannah. I called my kidney Hannah. That was my husband wanted to name our child Hannah. And since I had many miscarriages and we never had any children, got a lot of godchildren, nieces and nephews, but my kidney is called Hannah. Even the doctors call her Hannah.
Oh, wow. So did you ever meet the family of the donor?
They don't allow that. No,
Oh,
maybe it's an emotional thing for them. Maybe it's some kind of rule, but they don't. That's why they have you write the letter to them of thanks. I think I wrote a letter, a poem. I mean, I was deep with mine. I mean, since I'm a writer anyway, I got really serious with that thing, and I was just so happy to give it, so appreciative.
mm-hmm.
And I'm a donor myself. God forbid anything happened to me. They can have all of my organs, but I'm sure they don't want the 2 kidneys that don't work since I got 3 of them in there. The eyes, of course, and everything else is excellent.
So to be a donor, you would just check the box on the back of your driver's license. Is that what it is? That's how that works?
No, when I was, let me see, when I was volunteering with Live on New York, which was called the Donors Network, so I still call it the Donors Network, but it's Live on New York, and they have cards for you because when I was signing people up, I filled one out for myself. So you would be on a, I guess the registry or what have you, or so they know that you're a donor. I don't have it on my license. I always wanted to put it on my license, but I don't have it. But I had made sure my husband had knew and my family knew, because my husband said, "Oh no, anything happened, I'm gonna try everything to keep you alive." I said, "No, if I'm not, if it's time to go, it's time to go. I just want to be right with the Lord." But he says, "No, I'm gonna try to keep you alive." He told me to do that for him, and I did all I could for him. But I told him if I'm looking like, don't let nobody experiment on me or torture me. If it look like it's time to go, don't do all of that because that's just too much on the body. Let me be with Jesus, let it go. But he told me he wasn't going to do it. At least he was honest about it. But when I had when I was going to marry my husband the second time because I proposed him, since he proposed would be the first time, I proposed him the second time. Got on one knee, almost couldn't get back up. I got on one knee to propose him, and I told him if anything happened to me, another woman, a woman he would be a jewel to another woman. But if anything happened to him, God has done all for me that I ever asked or wanted with him, and I wouldn't need another husband. Not saying nobody out there is good or anything like that, but that's just not in my interest. I mean, just like I went back to being more ministry with God, like I was when I was single, when I was waiting for the husband.
Mm-hmm.
Now it's all about God, ministry, living as good as I can, being there for my family and carrying out my mission. That's what it's about. So, I don't know if God do something, he do it, but I ain't asked him to. I didn't beg him to either. So I'm just appreciating what life is now with him.
Wow. So through all of this that you've went through, I know you said I've watched your show. Can you tell the guest about your show and you wrote books? You've even been on TBN. I remember you
Oh,
saying you're
okay.
on TBN. You're on YouTube. Uh, Tell everybody about that.
How you know about TBN? I hardly ever say anything about TBN. Wow.
I think you mentioned it uh, the night on my interview because when I watched my interview over, I was like, she's been
Oh,
on
you saw it.
TV.
I just dropped this here. I got it. Ha ha ha. Sometimes it look like you only talking to yourself, you know what I mean, or what little bit of crowd you got. And some people tired of really hearing your story or the story because they already know it. But this way, with a show or a book, it travels places you couldn't go, and it gets to other crowds that may really need it. But believe it or not, the ones that didn't want to hear it come to you later and say, I got a cousin, I got a family member, a friend, a neighbor that went on dialysis. I don't know what to say. I don't know what to do. You know, I even had one of my family members, my nephew, I begged him really to eat right and well, and he went into the hospital and he cried like a baby, and I felt my heart went hard for him. But I stayed with him because he kept saying, you tried to tell me, you tried to tell us. But see, that goes to show you we all didn't listen. I wasn't listening either. But with polycystic kidney, your kidneys wear out on its own. I tried to eat less meat because you get a different diet than a renal diet before your kidneys fail. So I went on that diet first, and that preserved the kidneys a little more. But Blessed Kidney Connections is my company. And the reason why I do this Blessed Kidney Connections is because a lot of dialysis patients, and I help everybody, not just dialysis patients, but that's just one of the big ones since we're one of the ones that's one of the things I deal with. So I had to add that and incorporate that with any and everything that I'm doing. So this company refers you if you needed a job, you needed an apartment, you needed any kind of resource or services you need, whether I had it on the pamphlet or not, I'll find it, I'll get it, I'll research it, and I'll send it to you. So maybe you need your rent paid, maybe you need legal help or legal services, maybe you have an immigration issue and you need that, or you're undocumented and you need a physical. So my company will send you or refer you or tell you where to go to get a physical, no questions answered, asked of you. Just get your physical, get your health in order and stuff like that. So because we suffer a lot of things, and sickness is bad enough without having to worrying about money or worrying about putting your children through college and school. There's scholarships for people with any type of disability, along with kidney one is also. So there are grants out there to help you with your home, your house, your apartment, even to move. So I constantly throw resources on Facebook, even though I live in New York, some of the resources are in your country too, or travel all around the world. They just got different numbers, or one big 1-800 number. So sometimes you have to look at that as well. But you know your community, get involved in your community because the resources are there, and grab it and get it. My first book I wrote is called Through the Eyes of a Dialysis Patient. And the reason why I wrote this book is because people don't know what dialysis patients go through. So I went through A to Z, not only with my story, but the things that go on when you hear about the news, when you have to get on the scale, weigh yourself, why your pressure is taken every so often. It just everything from the nausea that you get, from smelling of the blood, the psychological stuff you deal with when you're in the center, the 100 people you got to deal with, and the different disappointments, attitudes, seeing friends die and pass away, the whole kit and caboodle, the sweet, the good, the bad, and the ugly. I like westerns. The good, the bad, the ugly of what goes on. Now, this was my children's book called Melzy Takes Dialysis to Show and Tell. I donate books to hospitals, prisons, colleges, schools, public schools, nursing homes. I what do you call it, daycare, head start programs. I even do workshops with them and presentations so the children understand what kidney disease is. And
Wow.
this just talks about how a little child took a picture for show and tell of her great aunt on dialysis, and showed it to the classroom and talked about it. And that story that went throughout the boroughs, some of
Wow.
that was true and some of that was added.
Mm-hmm.
But the books are in Barnes and Nobles, books at bookbaby.com, Amazon, and I sign some, I send some. You can get it on Apple, and you can't sell everything, so I do donate and give. Even though they make the author buy their own books at a lower price, you still have to be a blessing to somebody. It's not always all about money. Not saying I can't use any, but it's not all about money. It shouldn't be. Not over
That's
here. So
that's so true. And I did not know that as you were talking about with this any disability, there's grants and stuff out there for people.
what? Yeah, we definitely got it. So if we got each other's number down. But yeah, there are grants out there for your children, yourself, or your grandchildren to go to school, college. They make you write an essay for every little thing. Even when you open your business, they want to know why you want to open it. Why is it beneficiary to that community or block? Anything that I do, you have to explain it. You gotta tell it, talk about it. Anytime you want money, they take you through, but it's worth every dime. It's
Wow.
worth every dime.
Wow. I did not know anything existed like that. Really. I didn't know that you'd get assistance like
Sure.
that.
You
Wow.
kidding? This is my one of my resource lists that I'm always putting on Facebook that I'm trying to revise because I have to add lupus to it. I have to add scoliosis, what is a reticulitis or something to it. But I mean, every disease that I tried to put out every disease because each disease have a foundation, association, or something. And the associations usually give money, give grants, give help, send newsletters, emails, and physical mail to your house to help you and your family to learn more about that illness, that sickness, that disease. and it just opens up a lot. They give you, letters and membership, and they have parties and stuff, even with the Kidney Foundation, the Kidney Foundation, the Renal Network. I just joined everything, even the sicknesses I don't have, because some of them I asked to come on the show or to tell about this, because somebody out there may need to know the symptom of that illness or need to know how to deal with it or where they could go. So I asked them. A lot of them don't want to come on TV. They get scared. They run, oh no, at least I'll talk to you, but I'm not getting on TV, or I'm not this. And some of them I chased for years, and I got them down to a nub, and I got some of them, but not all. But I'm still chasing. So
That's true. I found that it's very important to tell your story. That's why, well, you heard I went 4 years and never told. The only people that knew there was something wrong with me was like my immediate family. Other than that, nobody ever knew anything was wrong with me. And then when I felt compelled to start sharing my story, I started to realize, wow,
yeah,
how important it is, no matter what
yeah,
you're going through, to educate others. Because
that is so true.
a lot of this stuff you're talking about right now, I didn't know, a lot of these services were offered with people that has different, conditions and they need assistance. And see, I didn't know stuff like that.
Well,
And,
oh, go ahead.
oh no, go
If you
ahead.
had a child, if you had a
Mhm.
baby, and say you couldn't run around with your child, they'll give you they don't call it a home attendant, but a home aide to help you with your child. You're there, but the things you couldn't do, so the child still get the physical activity or go to the park, or
Mhm.
little things that you couldn't do, they'll give you an aid for that. You know what I mean? Suppose you couldn't pay your rent because now you were working and now you're on disability, whether you're on there for a little while till you go back or you're on there permanently. They got DRE if you have a disability, and SHRE to help pay the rent or rent stabilization. They got so many programs out there. VESID, if you wanted a little part-time job, do a little something. On that list, I have everything from the Blind Association, the Liver Foundation, the Heart Association, diabetes, you name it is on there. You know.
Wow. I want to welcome some more of our guests. Hey, Pastor
You're
Woods,
welcome.
thank you for joining. And Leanne Smith. Angie just popped on. Angie Suddeth Wash, the one that interviewed me, she's on here. Uh, welcome, everybody. Thank you for
She's
joining.
a sweetheart.
Yes,
She's a
she
sweetheart.
is. And
Mm-hmm.
Lisa was just telling us about some of the resources that are available for people who has different conditions, which I didn't know nothing about this. She's just full of information. Hey girls, she said, "Hey girls," and uh, and I was like, I'm just sitting here in awe because I'm like, wow, a lot of people don't know this stuff. A lot of people don't have a clue because
Yeah.
you just if you happen to be on disability, you just try to learn to live with it the best way you can. You don't
God
know where
knows.
to go. You don't know where to go. You don't know
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
who to call. So if someone wanted to reach out to you, you do have a website that has all this listed, or is it all on Facebook?
Well, I put it on Facebook. I had like three websites, and money
Mhm.
got a little funny. Ha 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 ha. So I didn't have the website anymore. So I post a lot of things, Even if you were driving and you want a special parking, they got three different types of special parking, whether you want to park in a special parking lot, to park on the street to be closer to the building, or they have special transportations to drive you around. So there's just a lot of stuff out there. You just gotta dig and look. Some of these things I mentioned, you can also Google. But if you go in your own neighborhood and you ask about the resources, I use everything, the assemblyman, the community board, the district. I write everything. I say, you know about community awareness? Are you having a health fair, a job fair, a street fair? And I bring all my resources to them, even down to get your rear end gear, because my husband had colon cancer. And he was stage 4. He lived almost 3 years with stage 4. We found out at stage 4. So stuff
Mm.
like that I have to put out there, because that was another thing that was under a rock about colon cancer. You hear about a lot of cancers and a lot of different illnesses, but some illnesses need the light shined on it and it's not on there. So that's one of the reasons why we do the shows, because the shows I would get a patient or a client, or we call them warriors, a warrior to talk, or a family member of a warrior, and then I would get a doctor to break stuff down, a nurse, a technician, a social worker. That's why I have all different types of people on there because I don't know what's the problem you're dealing with. So maybe it's mental, it's psychological, maybe you're lonely, maybe you're desperate, God forbid, suicidal. But whatever it is, I'm going to have somebody on there to minister to you.
Yes, that's so important because that's why I started out tonight letting people know that I'm going to start, like, maybe a couple times a month or maybe even weekly to pray with people, on the
Sure.
Voice of Hope. Because a lot of people, when you're going through these tough times, and sometimes you can be so bad you can't pray for yourself and you need somebody to reach down in there
Oh,
and pull you
come
out.
on now. Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah.
that's, because I've met so many people through starting the Voice of Hope that was going through, tough times. And they're like, people around me knew that, but they never helped. And that's what God shows me. Sometimes we can't help ourselves. So He sends us to people to reach down in there and pick them up and pull them out and
Absolutely. Yeah.
intercede in prayer. Prayer is
Oh,
so
yes.
powerful. I
Oh,
mean,
very powerful. Yes.
oh, I know there's been so many nights, I couldn't pray for myself. I was so sick, and, I would get some of my family, they live in another state, praying for me, and
Mm.
next thing you know, I was out of that bed. And I mean, you
To
know,
God be the glory. Yes.
God, yeah,
Hallelujah.
that nothing is impossible with God, nothing,
Mm-hmm.
nothing.
That's
And
right.
you
Woo-hoo.
are living proof. And
Yes.
that it's so powerful. I wanted to ask you another question too. I seen a post that you posted a couple days ago, and you said, "I don't need this arm. I have a kidney." Is there
Oh.
something that I was wanting to ask you because what happened to your arm? Was it through dialysis that it was affected?
Yes, yes. Okay. When you get dialysis, you can get you can get hemodialysis, with the big machines. You could get peritoneal through the stomach, you know, um, you could get dialysis those ways, but they put it in my chest. I had a catheter here. You're only supposed to have it 2 months. I had it 5 because my arm wasn't mature when they gave me a fistula. They could give you a graft, but if they give you a graft, that's the plastic under the skin, it clots a lot. So I had good veins, so they gave me a fistula. When it started out, it was flat. But because of that 15 gauge needle they were sticking me with, the blue needles, ouch, that one, they would stick it here or here, if any which way, long as they weren't too close to, together, they had to be a certain way. They hurt very badly. I used to call it a little sword, very pointy. You could see the hole in it because they have to drain all the blood out of your body, clean it, and put it back in the body. The blood of
Wow.
Jesus. Yeah, tell me about it. So I started out with 3 hours. Then I started out with 3 hours and 15 minutes, and then I did 3.5 hours. My blood usually was clean. I got a report card monthly. I was very strict on dialysis with myself, so I didn't have any problems. I wasn't in the hospital all the time. I was strong as an ox. you know. So they liked how strict I was with myself. That's why they had me to be an advocate to encourage and talk to other patients, and then what have you. And thank God for the awards, the Advocate of the Year, and all that kind of stuff, and
Wow.
humanitarian award. And nothing means nothing without God or without a good family to share it with you know. But this is a fistula, and the fistula is your vein basically like magnified. It gets magnified, but it starts out flat, and it beats like a heart. So you'll feel a thrill or hear noise if you sleep on it. Excuse me, I got a rash on my elbow. If you sleep on it or lean on it, you can hear the noise in it because it's basically connected to the heart. That's why it beats boom, 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 boom like a heart. So the children always loved it. That's a fistula, right, Lisa? Because I deal with 3, 4, and 5 years. I say, right. I say, how big is your kidney? Big as like this. What does it do? Clean your blood. Where do you got to go if your kidneys don't work? Dialysis. I say, good.
That I noticed that you do little things, uh, that relate to children. I think I've seen it maybe on your YouTube channel. And you put those on there too. That is so good that you do that because, children also can listen to that. Their parents can show them if they're going through dialysis. They can
Mhm.
watch those things and stuff too. That is really good education to pass it along that way too. Because I seen that and I didn't know you wrote a children's book.
Yeah, Gribbet Gets a Kidney is not out yet, and the Pocket Planner, I money got funny again, but it'll get better. So I will put the other books and stuff out and what have you. And I was a professional actress. We just won international award for one of the judge shows that I do. I play somebody that I sue somebody every week about the environment. So whatever they doing wrong in the environment, I have to tell them because I'm the official, Mrs. Jones, the official person on the block.
Oh,
So,
wow.
yeah.
Oh, wow. So, what are the movies that you played in?
Oh wow. Hmm. I played in. I'm trying in my head in my resume here in my head, but I played in a movie with Leslie Ann Warren. I played in some plays as well. Sometimes I sung because I write songs too and I sing.
Oh, me
Uh,
too.
yeah, see, we got too much in common. We love
I
God,
know.
we
I
pray,
know.
and youth is my first ministry. So that's why you see me do a lot of stuff with kids and the youth. I go hard for the youth. Drug
Mm.
dealers, it doesn't matter how bad the kid is, I'm going after him. I'm going to show him that God loves him and we got his back or her back or their back, so that's my thing. That's truly my thing, besides helping people that's ill or sick or being a social worker for families. The youth is my thing. My heart goes out to them. They need us. They're going to always need us. I don't care if they act like they don't need us. They need us.
Mm-hmm. Oh
Yeah.
gosh, girl, we got so much in common you don't even know. Stuff I didn't even discuss on my interview. So,
Wow.
as
Wow.
you're talking, I'm sitting here thinking, oh wow. So, yeah, that's true. Our youth does need us, and yeah, I have a loved one who has struggled with addiction for many years, and I've been out on the streets
Hmm.
and yeah, they need us desperately. There's such an epidemic right now. It's,
Yeah.
bad, and just always being there, for them. It's hard, and I actually did I'm going to do another month about addiction because there needs to be stigma taken off of it so people is not afraid to come and ask for help because we have health conditions, but when someone is going through addiction and they're on the street, there's always this stigma to them that, and I
Mm.
think that keeps them a lot of times from speaking out, you
Wow.
know, and
We got that in common, yes. Somebody's coming on the show that I asked to come on. It was a couple, but I think one of them is scared. But I'll pick either one of them because they deal with men in addiction and women in addiction. And I told them you'd be surprised. Sometimes people that's ill deal with addiction as well, not just depression, but or eating disorders or what have you, but they deal with addiction as well.
oh yes, yes, they do. Yeah. And wow. Yeah, the same thing. Yeah. It's just a lot of people deal with so many different things like that, and they're
They do.
afraid to come out and talk about it because of the judgments, and
Yeah. Yeah.
well, I know even before I came out and talked about my condition that I didn't want people to see me as weak. So I can imagine, having addictions, they're what they're thinking too. So people like us being out there to have this platform,
Right.
it just makes it, better if we can get them on, and just,
Yeah.
pray for them and
Oh
everything.
yeah. Yeah.
So,
I'm transparent basically with my illness. That's why when I started the show, I tell them fill me on the dialysis machine. Let them see the blood going in and out. If I can prevent or save a life from getting this far, I want them to see what they're in for. So I say, I'm good now. You see me strong and tough. I let them see me jogging. I'm jogging, jogging, jogging. I had to tell them the times when my husband had to carry me up the stairs if they pulled too much fluid off me at dialysis, or I had when I couldn't had a good appetite, or when I was poisoned by the doctor and almost died, and my organs started to shut down. I had Steven Johnson syndrome. My brother actually died on the dialysis machine. We had to deal with a lot in my family. I had to bury a lot of people and be strong in it. But I believe in being real. If I'm going to cry, I'm going to cry. You're going to see it. I ain't going to hide it. I'm going to be myself all the time. And that's still strength in that. There's nothing wrong with shedding some tears, and even the Bible talk about crying. Cry with what? Weep with those that weep, and rejoice with those that rejoice. So when I'm rejoicing, I want some rejoicing up in here. And when I'm crying,
That's
if
right.
you don't cry with me, I just throw me a tissue. So
That's right. Now you said you had a near-death experience. What
what?
happened?
Oh, I had more than one. Let me see. That one, I got really sick with a bad cold. I was dealing with bronchitis,
Uh-huh.
and I couldn't get to my regular doctor. My husband and I just moved and bought a house. We were so excited about that house. And the same year, so much went down with that house when we bought that house. So I got sick, and I went to the doctor, and he gave me Bioxin. And Bioxin smelled like ice cream. It smelled so delicious, but it was an antibiotic. To this day, they very careful. They don't none of them to give me no antibiotic. They rather me to try to beat the cold or beat whatever's wrong with me. They're very slow to give me an antibiotic because I almost died. So
Wow.
they gave it to me, and I kept telling my husband I don't feel right. It reminded me of Job because my skin started to like separate. I had
Yeah.
sores and blisters all over from foot to toe. I couldn't eat. I lost 50 pounds. I got darker. Even though dialysis make you dark, I wasn't even on dialysis yet. They didn't even get to that point. And even after that, they were saying maybe that was one of the reasons I had lost my baby because my blood stayed polluted for a long time, even after that. So I guess I don't know if that was the kidney disease that it stayed polluted or whatever. But either way. But that thing, oh man, I had them sores and stuff. My mouth was still pink and black in the inside. From that happened in '99. I broke four things in my neck and fell outside in '99, and I almost died in '99. So I was like, God, what's going on with the '99? 1999. I said, whoa. Who you want to get the glory out of my life that I'm in this hospital or I'm over here? But it's sometimes you get little things that's not that big, but God wants you to minister to somebody at the hospital or the clinic or be a blessing. Sometimes you shut up and just listen. Sometimes I know how to do that. Even though I talk too much, I know how to be quiet.
It's funny you're talking about 99. The number nine is a big, I was studying it one day. It is an order of divine completion. And when
Right.
you told me, uh, you had your transplant on June the
On
29th,
29.
and
Mm-hmm.
I was like, wow. And so you had your near-death experience in 1999. So, and you had a couple more after that?
Well, I that was the biggest, and that was really the biggest and the main one because they wanted to film me because they kept saying my skin was changing and everything, and that if you came to see me, my skin can get infected, so I couldn't go outside once I had gotten out. Once I gotten out of the hospital, I had to stay in. I mean, everybody was upset. They came to see me. They didn't hardly recognize me. Some of my family, I just tell my husband, don't let anybody else come. They're so upset. Every time they saw me, I didn't even know I was looking like that. I didn't see a mirror. When I saw it, I told my husband, "Oh my God, you didn't tell me that." He said the same thing to me when he got sick with cancer later, but I didn't notice that because the nurse was treating me funny. He says, "Don't you treat my wife like that? She not got no bad disease or anything." And when I saw myself, I said, "No wonder she was scared. I might have ran too." I told him it was all right. I understood why she did that. So,
Wow. You've been through
yeah.
so much. Wow. So you actually, your show that you have that's every Sunday night at 8 o'clock, right? But I notice you have shows
Oh,
through the
yeah.
week also.
Well, yeah, the Lisa Baxter show started on cable and it started on YouTube. and it's on a lot of different networks. Thank God that it branched out like that. And my husband was my cameraman, and then my nephew was my cameraman. His wife helped out, and what have you. And then I started filming myself because they wouldn't let the cameras in the hospital when I got the transplant. That's what I mean about being visual. So you see the tubes and everything. I wanted to be very graphic, very serious. You're gonna get a transplant. This is what you're gonna encounter. I want you to see it. I let them see everything, the drain, everything. So I believe in that. So I believe in being real, upfront, up close and personal in my shows. So the YouTube shows you can see anytime you'd like. You can even Google my shows. But the ones that I do on Urban Health Outreach Media Facebook page, Mr. Steve Belcher and Miss Tamika Moore asked me to come on their show, their network, to be a part of it. They do a lot of different shows on that one network. So, I mean, it covers so much from nutrition and mental health and smashing kidneys and sisters with kidney disease and even one on helping you to get a transplant called Warriors Quest. So, I mean, everybody on that network is fantabulous. We are a big family there. And 8 o'clock every Sunday live, you can see the Lisa Baxter show. It's only 30 minutes. I don't like to drag nothing out too long. He been wanting me to make it a long time, but I like to get to the point, hit you with it, and let you go home. You know, so
That's what I wanted to mention. So you're on there every Sunday night at 8 p.m. and
yes.
it's 30 minutes. And your YouTube, do you go live on there or do you
No,
just?
I did 6 years worth of YouTube. Once in a while, I'll throw something on because I do public service announcements on domestic violence, drugs, encouraging the youth. So my stuff is a lot of different things. Some of them I'll do commercials on like overeating or all kind of stuff. You'll see me doing funny stuff. I'll take my teeth out, put a wig on, snatch it off. I do anything to get your attention. So, I'll do anything to get your attention long enough to learn something from me, even though it's funny. It's a serious thing I'm trying to put out there.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I know you. So if people want to reach you, they would reach you by your Facebook
Email is
page.
fine, or my yeah, that's not bad. The messenger thing, I thought that was really good. I didn't know that was so wonderful.
So
So
they
messenger is fine, or my Facebook page. They can find me. I don't mind being found. Look for me.
so they just
I see I
Google.
need dinner. I'm acting up. I need dinner. Yes.
Well, I will keep it. So they can find you on Lisa Baxter, the Facebook page, every Sunday night on the Urban Health. Was it Urban Health?
Outreach Media Facebook page. Kind of lengthy, but usually when the show shows on there, we usually all of us that's on that network is usually supposed to go to all of our pages and but you can always see it if you miss it live. You can always go back to that or my page to still see the show if you missed it.
Okay, and then they can find you on the Lisa Baxter Show on YouTube, right?
Yeah. Mhm.
And
Please
then,
share and subscribe.
yes, share and subscribe and share this video out too, so that
That's
anyone
right.
who didn't.
Share this. This is my girl here.
Thanks. That anyone didn't hear her story live, that they can hear Lisa's story, and you never know, could save a life. And
Yes.
if they want to purchase any of your materials or know about any of the services you were talking about, where do they reach you for that? Facebook, or do you have like a website or anything?
No, I don't have the website anymore. I had three of them already paid lovely for through the nose. So now I just basically post things up there. Through the eyes of a dialysis patient, that book you can get on books at BookBaby, Google Bookstore. You can get it on Apple. The through the Melzy Takes Dialysis, the show and tell is on Amazon. It's in Barnes and Nobles. You could get it like that. But and if you ever need me to come someplace to talk or speak or help out in any way, feel free. And the resources are for nothing. I want to help and I want to be a blessing out there. Learn from me, learn from my family, learn from my experience.
So you
God
travel
is
and
able.
speak?
Hmm?
Yes, Yes. You travel and speak?
Yeah, I mean, I've traveled and sometimes they bought 10 books and sometimes they just paid me outwardly.
Mhm.
Sometimes I did it myself, or sometimes they paid for my travel expenses and I came.
Oh,
So, I
okay.
mean, yeah,
Okay.
so I had found different ways to help out or do. I had to go a little bit out on disability to deal with this thing with the hip. I found out that I developed osteoporosis for having low calcium as a child, and then I had 12 years of dialysis, took a lot of calcium out of my bones. So I've been having problems with standing. I went to swim a couple of months ago and almost drowned after, because I didn't know the hip had anything to do with that part of it. So it wasn't no lifeguard around, so I grabbed the edge of the pool, so, nobody jumped in to save me, so thank God for Jesus. So, but that osteoporosis is new and it really hurts in the bones bad. They have not found any medicine to help me with that. So yeah,
Wow.
I'm trying two new things this week, and that's why you'll see me fidgeting and stuff like that because I couldn't get comfortable. But so I'm working on that with ointments and prayer and what have you. So I don't want to stay out of work a long period of time. The doctor put me out for 3 months. I'm hoping to maybe a month, maybe two the most, because your money goes straight down and I'm trying to move. So I just don't, I don't want to put more on, but if God says stay out or rest, I'm going to do exactly what he said because he
Yeah,
will provide. But I don't want to be lazy. So that's why I just want to make sure it's him and not my flesh.
I know. We got to take care of ourselves. Yeah, I'll be keeping you in prayer about
Amen.
that. I know my
Thank
mother,
you.
she
Keep
has
y'all
the
lifted.
osteo. Thank you. She has the osteo and all down her
Mhm.
spine, and it bothers her really bad. Yeah, so I know what you mean. But, well,
Yeah.
thank
I can sleep
you.
it like a pretzel.
What's
I
that?
can sleep like a pretzel. I feel fine if I like bend my legs. The doctor, he said, you don't need no operation or nothing. He said, look how flexible you are. He said, I bent your leg here and here. The pain stops.
Really?
I bend a certain way, it goes away. Yeah, that's why I couldn't understand. I'm like, well, I wish it was gone. I like to go to sleep.
Oh, wow. Wow.
So maybe I need the physical therapy again. I did have it before, but my gracious. So
Yeah,
my hat
no.
off to your mother. I hope she
Oh,
feels better.
thank you. Yeah, I know a couple people that have it and have told me that they went through physical therapy and it did help a lot. And
Or did I? Okay. Well,
yeah,
maybe I
I
need
know
to go
one
back
lady
there.
I talked to just the other day, actually, about 2 weeks ago. I didn't even know she had it. And
Yeah.
she said, yeah, I went through physical therapy and it helped me a whole lot. And
Well,
I
I
said,
gotta go
oh,
back there. Maybe I'll call them tomorrow because I'm so serious. Because they want to
wow.
give me they gave me a cane and I have the brace for arthritis, but that walker thing I didn't want, but now they couldn't find me one. I called about 12 different places. You're right about I can help anybody, but myself, it takes me forever to help myself. But I can find something for you in a minute. Me, I don't know.
I know what you're talking about. I know what you're talking about. I can find a lot of resources for people, and that's why when you were talking about this, it's like when you come down to yourself, it takes a little bit, Sometimes
I don't get it.
I
Mm.
know, I guess we just, sometimes need somebody else to help us, We got to take care of ourselves too, and
I'm
you know,
loving that. I'm loving that. I ain't mad at you. I'm loving that. Yes.
we
You
don't
better
take
go
care of
ahead.
us. I've had a few friends call me out and they say, now you're pouring from an empty cup. You got to fill that cup up and
Hmm.
got to take care of yourself. So, well, I won't keep you any longer. I am so blessed you came on and you
I'm
shared your
blessed to be on.
story. Oh, thank you. And I like so forward to everybody, listen to the Voice of Hope, listen to this over, share it out, get Lisa's story out there. Join her on Sunday nights at 8 o'clock. You can catch her on YouTube or you can message her on Facebook and find her. She's full of information and she's walking miracle and she's got a
You.
servant's heart. I can tell. She's my kind of girl.
Ah,
And
you better go ahead. Mm-mm-mm.
uh, she's
Wow.
really blessed by you coming on tonight. Really blessed. So,
Well, you coming on my show in October, the first
oh,
Sunday in October, so I'm
that's
I'm
right.
can't wait. I
That's
can't wait.
right.
Woo!
That's right. I am going to be on Lisa's show October the 6th, right?
Yeah, the sixth, the
The
first
6th.
Sunday.
The
Mhm.
first Sunday of October, October the 6th. So I'll be on
Yep.
Lisa's show and I'll be posting
Excellent.
that on here. So,
Mhm.
well, we'll be talking before then, though. I know we will.
Oh, definitely, definitely, for sure. Ah, we partners now.
I know that's right. That's right. I look for your
We
shows
partners.
every week. I really enjoy them. And I refer
Thank you.
people over. And like I said,
I
there's a few
appreciate that.
people that I know that, has kidney disease. And, uh, I've told them about your show. So, they might want to, you might want to talk to them sometime. I know, a couple of my aunt had been on, or my cousin had been on here. She had kidney transplant just 1 year ago.
Oh,
And
congratulations to her.
yeah, she had one just 1 year ago. And it's good to learn more about this because like I also know someone else that had struggled for many years. And
Wow.
it's good getting this information out there because
Oh
a
yeah,
lot of
yeah,
people don't,
yeah.
know what to even look for, the different types there
No.
is. And because I didn't know this either, you may know this, but like I didn't understand that kidney disease can actually stunt your growth. And someone said, "Do you know the actor Gary Coleman?" And I
Oh,
said,
Gary Coleman, yes.
"Yeah." And I
He had a
said,
problem. Yes.
"Yeah." And they said, "Well, it had to do with his kidneys because that affected his growth." And I didn't know that your kidneys could affect you like that. But I
He
thought,
probably
wow.
had a certain type or a different type of kidney disease because his parents were trying to do everything, to help him at that, I guess at that time with him dealing with that because he had a transplant. I remember seeing him going dark and light, and the other actor, what's his name? I used to love that. He was so funny. You know the guy. Oh man, I could see his face, but I couldn't think of it. But he Lopez, George. He had a
Really?
transplant. Yeah, George Lopez had a transplant too, and you could see when he got
Wow.
skinny, he was heavy, he got skinny. He went through some transformations, but there's a lot of pills we take. I know I used to take 19 in the morning, 16 at night. Now I take 4 in the
Wow.
morning and 2 at night. Yeah.
Wow.
So
So
it's a
that,
lot of pills. What is that? Those anti-rejection medications, the prednisone, and that affects your joints too. So you have to be careful. So they was wondering if that was what was bothering me, the low calcium or having a low blood pressure where it used to make me pass out and stuff, or if I didn't eat on time and things like that. But well, my family dealt with a lot of stuff between dialysis, diabetes, and heart thing. My father had heart thing besides the kidney thing. So, he never got on dialysis. His kidneys worked 8% when he passed. But my parents died young, 57 and 55,
oh,
you know.
wow.
So, and, my brother died on the machine. They let him bleed out. So, that affected my family badly too. Because he had the catheter too long. We kept trying to get him to take it out. And he had it a long time and he wasn't paying attention. He bled out and died. So,
So sorry.
I tell them be vigilant in those centers. Know your stuff. Watch out. Don't get infections in that or anything that you dealing with. Make sure everybody's washing their hands, staying clean. Write
You
stuff
mean
down.
you mean he got an infection from one his port
No, he
and
bled to death. He didn't need an infection. Might have would have not been as bad as death. You know what I mean? Because you can get infections in your catheter, but the catheter wasn't screwed on tight enough, and he bled out during the treatment. Nobody noticed it, so the blood was all under his chair and his clothes and stuff like that. And they tried to hide that, but
oh wow.
they couldn't hide that. They couldn't resuscitate him. They were giving him saline back, but the saline can't save you when you need blood. You know, can't save you when
Oh
you.
wow. So you mean during dialysis your blood can actually bleed out if they're not careful?
Oh
Are you
yeah,
taking?
because I went home and because you had heparin, the blood gets very thin. It shoots out, it shoots everywhere. I remember my husband, we all trying to grab it and shooting through my fingers. But in my brother's case, he's on the machine in the place and bleeding. Because you can bleed in there before you go, or during your treatment if they don't hook it up right. Things can happen, but that's why you watch. Sometimes one tech or the nurse, if the nurse is watching, they can be looking at four people at a time, or sometimes they watching too many people at a time, and it's hard. This person's bleeding, that person is cramping, this person passed out. You you gotta like move around. That's why you need staff, and you need staff that's not tired. Some of them are overworked, some of them are overwhelmed, some of them not trained right. You know what I mean? You need all that stuff to be right. You dealing with a person's life, and my
Oh,
brother cannot get that life back.
wow.
So
I'm so sorry.
yeah. So I used to didn't go to sleep. I used to look around, watch around. Four of us was in the same center, and then we all end up branching out into other centers because you know that was hard to even look at that center or go. It took me a while before I could go ministering there, but I went back to minister there. You know.
Oh, wow. Wow. See, that's stuff that you don't think about. I didn't even know that could even happen. But wow, that's good
Sure.
information. Yeah, that's good information to know. I'm so sorry that
Yeah.
happened.
Me
But
too.
wow.
Me too. He had 8 children, a
Eight, oh
wife.
my goodness.
Yeah.
So sorry.
Yeah. So I still miss him. Still think about him, and we think all the funny things he said and did. He was a he ran construction business and stuff. My sister ran construction business and stuff. You know, I buried about 4 or 5 of my siblings. So to God, God has kept us through all of that. But they were
Oh,
some real warriors and real pioneers dealing with this stuff. You
wow.
know, so
So you had how many out of all your siblings that have this condition?
only 4 of them had it, but six. I only had 6 siblings on dialysis, not counting me, but my 6 siblings were on dialysis. And let me see, 1, 2, 3, 4, about no, he doesn't. 4 of them had polycystic kidney disease. One
Oh,
got on because of diabetes. My brother that died, he didn't have polycystic. He had diabetes. Diabetes is the number one. You got diabetes, high blood pressure, lupus, those things, and you can live with one kidney, but your kidneys can get damaged through an accident or damage. Even when you're not, drinking water and doing things that, help the kidneys out. So many
mm.
things can hurt them, and you need to know what hurts them.
Oh, wow, that's very important too, to be educated on that. You just don't think about a lot of that kind of stuff.
Yeah, so many medicines that hurt a kidney. They wouldn't let me have certain painkillers or certain over the counter stuff I can't have. They damage kidneys and bother kidneys.
Oh,
I couldn't have
wow.
ibuprofen and stuff like that. No. You gotta like know, you better know it, you know what I mean? And know what you can't have with the transplant. You can't have grapefruit juice and you can't have pomegranate juice. So you have to like remember that. I study stuff and keep it in my head. If I think I don't know, I always ask questions. I go to a restaurant, ask 1,000 questions. If they act like they ain't sure, I tell them don't give it to me. No, I don't want it. No, thank you. you know.
That's true. 'Cause so you're on a special diet now then, right?
Well, it's not really a special diet. You can't eat it salad bars. All the germs and coughing and all of that. That's all you need is a little germ to get in that nice little kidney. Leave Hannah alone. She been good. So you got to
Yeah.
watch stuff like that, raw fish and things like that. I think it was animals and children. When you first get the transplant, they didn't want you around like dogs and cats and children. Children always sneezing and wiping and
Yeah.
you, you gotta be careful of all of that because sounds simple, but boy, I wasn't in the hospital on dialysis, and I sure didn't want to be in the hospital with the transplant. And I haven't been in there for either, like for anything bad, terrible, or serious, or constant. So thank you, God.
Oh, wow. Yeah, you don't think about that kind of stuff. But it is true. Those salad bars, yeah, they do have a lot of people around them and stuff like that. So now
Yeah.
that you've had your kidney transplant, Do you still have to take anti-rejection medicine the rest of your life? Or
Pretty much. It's just you don't have to take as many. I mean, the dose went way down from 19 and 16, 19 in the morning, 16 at night, to just six altogether. Like a
oh,
baby aspirin, you got your Cellcep, you got your Prograf, and you got your steroid. The steroid. I should know that one by heart, but the steroid, you know. So, and that can cause issues and problems, but you have to take those things. I wish they could be gone. Somebody said they'd stop taking it, but I don't want to be testing nothing out hearing what somebody said. I have to know about without a shadow of doubt or a fact,
mm-hmm.
you know.
That it's gonna
I'm
work
gonna
for
keep
you.
Hannah as much and long as God had me to keep her. So I'm not trying to rock the boat, especially since the boat is working. You know.
Yes, yes. Well,
Yeah.
that is so good to hear. I am so glad you come on, and you're such an inspiration in just all
Oh,
of the things that you've been through, and just you inspire me, give me hope.
wow. Well, you
So,
inspire me as well. You
oh,
inspire me as well. You've been through hell and back, and I'm telling you, I'm glad you killed all the demons while you were there. So,
uh,
God got good stuff and good plans for you, and that's just why me and you are linked together. One of us to chase 1,000, but two of us will put tens of
yes,
thousands to flight.
that's right. I was quoting that scripture yesterday when I was
Really? Oh
praying.
my
Yes,
goodness.
I quote that scripture all the time. When people calls me to pray, I say, yes, when two is together, we put
All
tens
right.
of thousands to flight. I
Mm,
quote that scripture at least 3 or 4 times a week.
you better
When
go
somebody,
ahead. I ain't mad at you.
I know when somebody
I
calls me
know.
up to praying, I said, that's the first thing I say, yes, we're stronger together. Let's pray together. And I start quoting that
That's
scripture.
right. That's right.
And
I
that's
would
so
say
true.
give the devil a headache. I'll cut his head off, preach his funeral, put him right back in the ground where he belongs. He
Yes,
belongs under our feet. You know?
that's right. I say when I get up in the morning, devil, you're going to be sorry you ever messed with me. You're going to be sorry you ever messed with me.
That's right. That's right. They said, Lisa, what happened to your arm? I said, you looking at this, you should have saw what I did to the devil. He can't talk right now. He ain't gonna be talk or
That's
do nothing or
true.
say nothing.
That is so right. That is so right. You have to keep that
They might
mindset
flatten
too.
it and fix it, but they might flatten it. They tried to do it before, but they gave me some medicine that made me sick, and they couldn't operate on me to flatten it. They said it would take a couple of hours because of the scar tissues. Not that
Uh-huh.
it's bothering me, but when I'm out in the street, people see it all the time, and I just use it to minister or to talk. Because I,
Oh,
I wear short sleeves, I swim, I don't hide it at all. It's too hot, no.
yeah.
So, so yeah,
Well, it gives you a time to educate people. Gives you a chance
all
to
the time.
educate them.
Every
Yeah.
chance I get, my family say, "You're on a vacation now." No, relax. I want you to enjoy yourself. I says, even when I'm not talking about dialysis, kidneys, or anything, people come to me all the time. My husband used to say that. He said, "You mind your business." People walk up to you and start talking to you or telling you their problem. And I don't know. I don't, because they accused me of doing this on vacation. I said I wasn't even talking. I was sitting there minding my business. So
Yeah.
the
Well, they
spirits
know.
attract each other.
Mhm. They know. They can tell.
Yeah.
People can tell when you're
Amen.
close to the Lord. They can. They really can. They know they can talk to you. Because I'll meet people sometimes and they'll say, I feel like I've known you forever. I
That's
said,
right.
well, this, we're friends now.
That's right.
So,
That's
yeah,
right.
don't matter where
I
you're
feel
at,
like I've known
grocery
you too
store.
forever.
I know, right? It's
Yeah. I
like,
like what?
I know. It's like when you get to talking to people sometimes, I mean, it
Yeah.
don't matter where I'm at, grocery store, doctor's office, people wants to, you know,
Yeah.
know some stuff and just open up and now that, people, the more resources I find out, I can pass them on to others, which, can bless
Well,
somebody else.
yes,
So,
right. Pay it forward. I always tell people that. They say, Lisa, you sent this to me, you emailed, you texted to me. I don't need this. I said, maybe you don't. Maybe one day you will, but even if you don't, somebody that you know will. And even like I pass it to you, you supposed to pass it to somebody else.
that's true. That's true.
Don't worry if you need it or not. Take it.
That's
You
right.
know,
Because you,
sometimes I take something and I don't need it, but I might need it someday, and sometimes you can go right back to it. You
oh,
know,
that's
but
so true. Because there's been many times I've had needed something, and I will go back and realize, or call a friend, and remember, they told me something, be able to help me out. And that's so true. That's so true. You never know who might be able to use something that, you put out there. So,
oh
well,
yeah,
thank you so much. I appreciate you
you're
coming
welcome.
on and telling your
Anytime.
story. And I'll be calling you. I have a few
Okay,
questions.
definitely, please do. And thank you, and God bless all my family out there, my church family, New Life Cathedral, Yolanda and Tawana and Sito, and just everybody, my whole family, Damien and Paris and Rimothy and Tashana. You always when you start that, you forget who to call, but it's a mistake from my head and not my heart. I love everybody.
I
And
know,
thank
me
you
too.
again. And God bless. And I'll be praying for your friend and y'all and this show and ministry all together. Okay. And let's stay in touch.
Thank you. Definitely. And I'll be
Okay.
praying for you too and your show, and let's definitely stay in touch. So, you guys, if you need to get in touch with Lisa, remember you can go to the Lisa Baxter Show on YouTube, her Facebook page, and also Urban Health Ministries, right? On
Urban
Sunday.
Health Outreach Media Facebook page. Took me a long time to say that. And sometimes they told me I still said it backwards or wrong, but people find it no matter what I said, they find it. So, wee! So, thank you so much.
You're welcome. She's on there on Sunday nights at 8 p.m. every Sunday night.
Every Sunday,
So,
different guests.
So I'm so blessed you came on tonight. Thank you so
Thank
much. And
you.
any of you
Welcome.
out there, thank you. And any
Thank
of
you,
you guys,
everybody.
thank you guys all for joining us. If you watch this in repeat, share it out. Somebody out there needs to hear this story, and you can help somebody else's life, save their life. And as I always end the show, if no one has told you today, you are so loved. So get out there and do what we're doing and spread some hope to someone else. You don't know who's around watching you. And your story or your mess that you're going through, it just might pull them out of theirs and help
That's
them
right.
go down the road a little further. So until next time, we'll see you next time on The Voice of Hope. Thank you, Lisa. God
You're
bless you.
welcome, Andrea. Thank you. God bless and good night, everybody.
You too. Good night, everybody. Bye bye.
Bye.